1, 2. Always wanted to do that. In case anyone can't understand me, which is quite often the case with American people, just put your hand up and I'll explain it a little bit slower. Going back to what the chap who was on earlier said, I'm not one for public speaking, but when we pulled up in the car with my wife, she put her hands on my cheek and she said, "Are you ready for this?" And I said, "No, I'm a bollocks." Anyway, has anyone heard of Humans of Long Beach?
Yeah!
Yes?
Woo, yeah!
Has anyone not heard of it? Oh dear, that's me knackered then. I was gonna explain how it came about. I came to America in 2008 at the, my best friend who's sitting over there offered me the opportunity to come to America, and I needed a change in direction. I don't know what I'm holding that for.
Yes, you can.
1, 2. I needed a change in direction, so I came to America in 2008 literally with a suitcase and nothing else. My best friend had a family and I didn't, so a lot of my spare time was just spent on my bicycle, riding around town, all areas of town, some areas I shouldn't have been in, just exploring basically. And it was a time when social media was taking off, so one of the first things I bought was a camera, and trying to learn how to use it. And it quickly became apparent to me that it was people that I liked taking pictures of, and the interaction of taking pictures. So I was going out on my bike to all parts of Long Beach, taking pictures of people who caught my eye, and occasionally a conversation would ensue. Blah, blah, blah. A year later, I read in the LA Times about an article about Humans of New York, which everyone will have heard of, I would think. And I realised that was what I was doing in Long Beach, basically. And then sometime later, on Facebook, there was Humans of everywhere, Timbuktu, Bangkok, Humans of everywhere were popping up. And I thought, well, this is what I'm doing in Long Beach, so why not start one here? And that was 2012 when I started the blog. At first it was just a little snippet of conversation, but then I started taking a notebook out with me and recording the conversations and trying to dig a bit deeper into the people I was speaking to. And it fascinated me and it captivated me and made me want to do more, and every spare minute I'd be out on my bike going and meeting people. And that went on for another couple of years, and then in about 2015 people were suggesting to me, why don't you do a book? And I was thinking, I can't do a book, what do I know about doing a book? Which was absolutely diddly squat. But then eventually I thought, right, I'm going to do a book. And there was a guy I'd met doing Humans of Long Beach, Chris. He said he'd be able to help me putting it together. And over the next 18 months, we came up with this book. And that was 2018. And I decided that a lot of the proceeds were going to go to a Long Beach non-profit. And I chose the Christian Outreach in Action, the COA.
Yeah.
I think it's on 5th Street or 3rd Street, I can't remember which one. Because I knew Dixie, one of the leaders of that non-profit, had asked me to speak at a book launch thing. And they were all of them were beautiful people, and I decided to give to them, and the book raised almost $4,000. I was still going strong I was still loving Humans of Long Beach, bearing in mind this is 8 years later when the dreaded COVID lurgy came in. And I was going on my bike, and literally I'd ride downtown and I wouldn't see a person going 5 miles, wouldn't see a single person. I thought, well, how the hell am I going to do a blog on meeting and talking to people when there's no people to talk to and meet? So it carried on online for 6 months with people sending me their thoughts on COVID. And then I lost my job, and I was thinking, good old Donald came up with that bonus for unemployed people. So I was earning, well, not earning, I wasn't earning anything, but I was getting enough to not have to work for a while. I think like about 95% of the unemployed population at the time. I was there for about 2 weeks sitting at home, twiddling my thumbs while my wife was going off to work. I thought, what the hell am I going to do with myself? And then I thought, well, I think you might have to do another book. Which is what I've done, and it's coming out in 2 weeks. There's a grand launch at the Maid shop on Pine Avenue, if you know that, on March the 11th. But I just want to read one of the stories from it, because this story in particular covers the 3 attributes that Anne asked for: hope, love, and
Renewal.
renewal. And the book's full of stories, but just excuse me 1 minute. I did say my eyes were going. So this is the new book, and as you can see, it's pictures and stories from people all around town, all part of town. And I know Richard. I saw Richard before.
Oh.
Where's Richie? Oh, that wasn't him. Richard Chimuza. He's in here anyway.
He's off to his next event.
And there's bound to be people you would know in here. But this particular lady.
There's Richard.
This is Michelle, who's a lady I came across downtown Long Beach, and she had an eye patch like a pirate, and she immediately caught my eye, and we started up a conversation. I'll just read you her story before I clear off, if I may. So this is Michelle's story out of the new book. I was 57. Hold on. I was 57 when I ended up on the streets of Long Beach. I was living in a sober living at the time, but the owner kicked everybody out and closed it off to all of us. I had a boyfriend, and we used to sleep behind the library on Anaheim Street. One of the officers who we'd regularly see, Officer Castellanos, he would come by and he'd always ask me, "Aren't you tired of this yet?" For 4.5 years I always said no, and then one day he asked again, and I finally said yes. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I remember he used to say to me, "I hate having to go home and worry about you." He never gave up on me. It was January the 6th, 2017. Almost brings me to tears, this, because I can remember him telling me the story. I walked away from my boyfriend of 7 years and all my belongings, and he took me to the multi-service centre. I was in a hotel for 4 days, and then I went through a safe refuge program at 7th and Obispo. They saved my life. If it weren't for Safe Refuge and Officer Castellanos, I'd be dead. I found out why I was on drugs and why I was doing the things to myself I was doing, and they helped me get my life back together. I never sold my body when I was on the streets, but I learned that with the drugs I was just trying to suppress the anger, the feeling that was inside me. It all went back to when I was a baby. I had an abusive childhood. I poked a pair of scissors in my eye when I was a child and became completely blind in one eye. And I was kidnapped and raped when I was in college at OC College in Costa Mesa. A man kidnapped me, took me back to his home and raped me, and then dropped me back at my car and said, "I really enjoyed our time together," and asked if we could do it again sometime. I never told my dad. I never told the police. I was afraid it was something I'd done. After that, I met a man and ended up getting married. We were together for 30 years and had 2 beautiful daughters, and then he left us for another woman, and I became homeless. That's when I started using. As of now, I've been clean for 1 year, 9 months and 12 days, and without Officer Castellanos, it would have been my death sentence. When I came off the streets, I had a colonoscopy and they found 3 polyps that were cancerous. If I was still out in the streets, I'd be dead by now. I was 9 months in the program, and then I finally got my own apartment. I got my cat back too, and I got my life back. I love the woman I've become because I've fought so hard to be the person I am, and I think the future holds so much for me. When I was younger, I was always taught that life was that you'd go to school, get married, be a mother, and be everything to your husband. Now I don't have to rely on anybody but myself. There's a Kelly Clarkson song, "I Don't Think About You." It's just like she wrote it for me. And then I asked her what was the best feeling in the world. That I have my own apartment and I don't have to rely on anybody. I had this dream where the devil was trying to lure me back into his clutches, telling me, "You've got your own life, no one will know." And I woke up in bed and said, "Fuck you, devil. I'm a strong 62-year-old woman and nobody is going to take that away." And that's Michelle's story. It's a beautiful one. I don't like to plug or anything, but I've got some books in the car. If anyone wants to have a look at this, or if they're interested in it, I've got some books. And if not, I'll see you March the 11th at May. Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Matt Ross.